of TCS will be joining us in moments from now to discuss what lies ahead for the quarter gone by. TCS, of course, has come out with the quarterly numbers, and if one looks at the stock market reaction today, even though most of the brokerages have come out with a cut in the earning estimates, markets are saying that it's time to look beyond the weakness what has happened for the quarter gone by. So to understand what lies forward, of course, there was a bit of a challenge in the India business, but what is important is that TCS is still growing, the North America business is growing, and Europe is also growing. So let's look beyond the short term. I think that is what I'm sure Rajesh and NGS would like to send across as a message. So they're there with us. Let's connect with them. Rajesh, NGS, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Rajesh, unlike what I have been saying for 6 quarters in a row, where TCS has surprised and delighted everybody with volume growth and with order book commentary, this time around markets are not celebrating. While markets are not unhappy, markets are not celebrating what TCS has reported for the quarter gone by.
Lakkad, good morning, and it's a pleasure to be with you once again. This quarter has been, as I said, a balanced quarter, balanced between the health crisis, the personal tragedies that many of our associates and loved ones went through, and business opportunities and future optimism that we see. So I believe that what you described is a valid summation of the 90 days gone by. And we need to be pragmatic. We need to be watchful. We need to be diligent. But we also are optimistic about the opportunities that we see and the fact that the long-term trends that we have identified and are investing on, they are continuing to gain in strength. And we are staying focused on them and shall continuously build out onto that strength areas in our core markets. So it's a balanced quarter, and I'm not surprised by the kind of reaction that you described.
Rajesh, so if I keep the COVID impact and the drop in India business aside, can I say that the big picture scenario which you've been sharing with us, along with your Q4 commentary, Q3 commentary, what you've shared with us in last 3-4 quarters of new cloud architecture getting created, and you see a huge demand uptick coming. Has that big picture scenario also got challenged, or what you've seen for the quarter gone by was more like a demand disruption in India business because of COVID?
Nikunj, the big picture scenario has gotten even further strengthened. If you look at the examples that we have shared in our press releases and analyst calls and all, there are many instances of how we are going beyond the infrastructure as a service promise of the cloud hyperscaler and using the common unifying fabric of the cloud to significantly bring about enterprise transformation. I'll call out a couple of examples, but there are many more in what we have shared. For example, for a leading franchisee hospitality service provider, typically to roll out a transformation program like this, let's say 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it would have taken 3 years, 5 years if you have a global franchisee footprint. But with the kind of fabric that the cloud allows, the ability to not just roll out a significant transformation, but to keep it real-time current and to continuously enhance the customer experience into it while maintaining security and stability is unprecedented. Similarly, we shared an example of a very large industrial equipment and reagent manufacturer who had specialized in water treatment technologies. Now, a fairly conservative company, deep engineering roots, very deep customer relationships. But once again, the ability to significantly increase the agility of their business strategy rollout is what cloud promises. And these are just a couple of examples of what we are calling the Horizon 2 promise of cloud. And this is getting strengthened in industry after industry. And our conviction is very strong that there is no stepping back from it.
NGS, as per the numbers shared in your con call, there was a rough revenue hit of 350 crore. Is that revenue gone forever, or you're likely to make it up in this quarter?
Good morning, Nikunj. I think it is deferred. This because essentially 350 crore impact came predominantly from the regional markets like India and Japan. Right? These are affected by pandemic. Our ION business, our passport and public sector business, all of them, have been deferred because most of these examinations, etc., got deferred as well. So it's only a deferment that has happened. Overall, our growth in the core markets and core verticals have been phenomenal, 4.1% in CC growth, and the volume growth across has a 4.4%. All goes very well. So essentially means that nearly about 90% of our business has really done very well and continue to take in with both revenue terms as well as new deals assigned terms. So I think we are confident of the future when it comes to the question of growth. And these deferred projects are likely to be executed in the coming quarters. Right? If I see what has happened in the situation in India over the last 2 weeks, if that continues, I think it can happen even in Q2 or early Q3.
Now, NGS, I don't want to get this one wrong, which is that if I look at your last couple of quarters, there seems to be a shift towards margin leadership versus revenue leadership, which means, I'm just breaking it for our viewers, which means TCS is indicating that they would focus on margin leadership and go for good quality business and mid-side deal. Now, NGS, that is going to change the way how the medium-term cost structure and the margin structure will change for TCS. Is my assessment right that you may see contraction in top line but a big expansion in margin in coming quarters?
See, growth is important. And we are not just going after growth. We always stated that growth with margin is the play here. Because if you are going to focus on any one of them, you will lose both. Right? That has been our thinking. That has been our strategy. So we will always go after growth. We will need to take whatever we need to do, we will do in order to acquire that growth. And both Rajesh and I have stated that getting back to double-digit growth is so important for us. And we are working on it. And I think, we will get there this particular year. And number one, margin, is important because, ultimately, unless you focus on both, innovation will not come. Right? So growth, efficiency, innovation, all the three have to fire all the time.
Rajesh, what started as more like a compulsion, which was work at home and your new delivery model in terms of people working from home and the hybrid model, do you now see that there is going to be a very widespread acceptance of that now that things are normalizing? A lot of offices which earlier indicated that, look, we will not work from home, they are also welcoming the employees back. I'm just trying to understand that COVID is changing our thought process every day. Have you changed your thought process on the work at home and the hybrid model?
Definitely, Nikunj. What started, as you said, as an immediate reaction, but has gained traction and gained acceptance across a fairly wide spectrum because they've seen both the resilience and the quality of the service delivery. So SBWS is now widely accepted and has been also embraced and welcomed by many of our clients, like yesterday NGS was mentioning, where they have shown interest in rolling that out into their own employee populations. But you have to remember two things. One is SBWS, while the scale at which it was deployed was phenomenal last year, it didn't appear out of nowhere. It is an evolution of many investments and steps that we have been taking on this path from the last many years, including our investments in Agile and location-independent Agile, where we have significant thought leadership in that. The other aspect is that the vision that we laid out of 25 by 25, we are also very confident and even more confident about that vision. But that vision needs to be executed, and the path to execution will involve, I would say, a return to office and a more structured disbursement back into this kind of a model, because our current model was an immediate reaction to a crisis, whereas the 25 by 25 vision is a much more deliberate, much more planned, and much more staggered kind of a rollout of that vision. So we will see the current SBWS operating model, where we have about 97% of our people working remotely, will swing the other way as this pandemic starts to lighten up. And then we'll go in a much more deliberate and controlled manner back to somewhere in that vision trajectory that we have laid out. So that's the kind of evolution that we see of the working environment when we look forward into the next 5 years.
And just I'm again going to ask the most important question perhaps again so that we don't get it wrong. TCS surprised us and delighted shareholders with the kind of big picture in the demand scenario which you shared with us 2-3 quarters ago. Based on whatever development has happened on the COVID front with your clients, is there any reason to believe that the big picture, high growth, new cloud architecture demand scenario which you shared with us could slow down or could change?
Not at all. And on the other hand, as Rajesh mentioned in his opening statement, it is only strengthening. And the interactions that we are all having with our customers and our own deal pipeline and the kind of deals that we have signed all indicates to the fact that there is a huge demand around movement to cloud, right? And some of the growth and transformation themes like customer experience, mergers and acquisitions, supply chain, many of these things involve adoption of digital technologies much more holistically, and we are participating in each one of this. We have upped our quotient in terms of hiring digital talent and also investing in new offerings. Our Cognix platform, for example, has crossed the 100 customer base in this quarter. So overall, I do not see any stoppage or rethinking on customers' investments towards growth. I think all the opportunities that we see are in the growth and transformation side of it. While people do want that to be executed in a most efficient manner with all the latest digital technologies, innovations, fintechs, and other startups in the ecosystems to participate in it. I think 4.1% of constant currency growth, 90% of our business, plus 4.4% of volume growth, $8.1 billion of TCV, all that indicates a very, very strong demand environment. And I do not see that is relenting at all.
Okay. Rajesh, just to wrap it up, if I say that, look, the quarter gone by was a blip, nothing changes for TCS in terms of the big picture and the demand scenario, and what's happened is more like a forced factor. But God forbid if there is a third wave, what happens then?
Because our company is more than 50 years old, and we have every intention to keeping it going for the next 50 years. So what happens in one quarter or the second quarter needs to be dealt with. That's the reality of the world that we live in. But the approach is to plan proactively and stay ahead of the game. Right now, we believe that vaccinations, while they might not be the 100% solution, but is going to be the cornerstone of our approach to try to minimize the kind of loss that we suffered in human terms in the last 90 days. And we are significantly pushing on the vaccination agenda. As we have shared, 70% of our associates have got at least one shot. And we are driving it with the same level of execution focus that we bring to everything else. And we intend to get 100% of our associates fully vaccinated by end of September. And that's the kind of focus with which we are going about it. And we believe that that's the best solution that's available in our hands. Beyond that, whatever happens, we will deal with it as it comes around. We have a very strong team. And we are continuously amazed by the passion and the resilience that they have shown. And our HR also, I want to take a minute to call out the kind of work that has been put in by our HR teams who had to deal with both the human tragedy aspect of what unfolded as well as a scenario where demand was very strong and talent acquisition, retention, retraining continued and accelerated. So in an environment like that, to be able to effectively operate, it's a testament to the kind of quality of people that we have. And with that kind of a team in place, I'm sure we are well positioned to deal with any challenges that come our way as we look forward.
Well, Rajesh, NGS, good luck, stay safe. Last couple of days have been challenging for all of us, and let's hope we see the back of this COVID war very soon.
Thank you, Nikunj.
Okay, that's the take coming in from Rajesh Gopinathan from TCS and NGS as well, saying that need to be pragmatic, watchful as well as diligent, stating that Q1 is a balanced quarter and that they will continue to build on the strength in the core markets. Also, the word coming in from NGS is that a 350 crore rupee impact came in from regional markets like India and Japan, which are more affected by the pandemic than others. So there has been that deferment in that sense. Growth in core markets and core verticals remains strong. Nearly 90% of their business has done very well and continues to do well in both revenue terms. Some projects were deferred in the first quarter, but they claim that they're going to see them come back going ahead. So that really is the word coming in. Saying that we will get back to double-digit growth this particular year. We're working towards it and we are very confident. Growth, innovation and efficiency are all important. That's very confident sounding management, sticking with their earlier guidance when in the previous quarter as well they had mentioned that they should be able to achieve a double-digit growth for the full year. I just want to quickly mark what the TCS stock is up to, because just ahead of this management commentary, TCS went in absolutely flat, but now you're seeing a bit of a plunge come in on TCS, which has fallen about almost 1%, more than that actually. 32.25 is where Nikunj, TCS is currently.
Let's take the conversation forward with Samir Seksaria, CFO of TCS, and Milind Lakkad, Chief HR Head. Samir, it's your first time on ET Now, so a very warm welcome. Milind, lovely to connect with you. Milind, while for TCS the attrition rates are not high, but suddenly if I notice, and what we understand from other large IT companies is the attrition rate is a record high. So TCS has done a great show of keeping attrition under control for the quarter gone by. But when the industry is seeing so much of a churn, are we in for challenging days ahead, Milind?
Nikunj, I think the first point is yes, job market is hot. Like I said, 7.28 last quarter, 8.6 this quarter. These attrition rates are a little bit artificial because of pandemic. We normally operate at 11 to 12% attrition rate, and in peak times we have seen 13-14% as well. So this is this is something which we expect. If you say yes, will it go up? The chances of it going up are yes, they are high. But our operating model is robust enough to manage this from a business standpoint.
So, Milind, what you're saying is that the attrition rates in the industry, they do not worry you. You're not worried about any kind of wage inflation or anything else.
I think, we obviously always make sure that we basically reduce or continue to make efforts to have less number of people leaving us, and make all the efforts, high performance, obviously even more effort. With all that, the attrition numbers will go up, but our overall mix, Nikunj, of people coming in from campus across the globe, and with some additional cost coming in through lateral hiring, still manageable and not material enough to worry about it.
Okay. Samir, once again, a very warm welcome to you. We are interacting for the first time on this forum. So welcome to ET Now management interview. Samir, my first question is, going forward, things will change, whether it is on the wage front or it is on the travel front, as things will normalize. TCS enjoyed huge benefits of work at home and of SG&A saving. will that start adjusting and start normalizing?
So thank you, Nikunj, and good morning to you and all your viewers. As we said, things would get normalized, start getting normalizing, and we all expect things would get back to normal. But we have rolled out our SBWS 25 by 25 thing, and we expect to leverage on that, but we would also expect that we would have a hybrid model coming in. Coming to that, how does it impact the overall picture? Yes, some of our discretionary spends will start taking back up, but we would be the benefits itself were in a small range. Our maximum expenses are on other line items than the discretionary spends itself. We are pretty confident to manage other levers to manage to take care of the uptick coming on these expenses.
So will the aspiration band of 26 to 28% remain an aspirational band, or we will say that the aspiration has been achieved in FY22?
See, we have been in the aspirational band, and there have been quarters where there is a slight decrease and coming in. Our 26 to 28% is our guiding beacon, and we continue to follow it. And our long-term structures are focused to help us maintain that band.
Milind, a broad point on what essentially your customers want. You know, last year, every customer would have said, focus on the delivery, don't worry about the workforce, whether it is working from home or sitting at campus. But now looking at the fact that things are normalizing in developed markets, whether it is holidays or whether it is office, a lot of companies, US tech companies, which earlier said that we will not open office for 5 years, they're welcoming people back. How will that change? I mean, are we in for a big change, or you will ensure that irrespective of what the customer demands are, the 2025 work at home number will not change?
Okay, Nikunj, our vision of 25 by 25 remain and remain strong. With respect to very specific customer needs, if the customer is requiring us to be working in specific authorized locations, based on how it was done before, we will align with that, But that doesn't mean that that's a kind of change of our vision. But and customers are very happy in the way we are operating today. And that model will anyway become hybrid. Today it is 96%. It will become it will go to hybrid, especially now with all the vaccinations we have done in the organization. It will become hybrid. People will come, and if it is not 25 by 25, it can be 50-50 early, and it will eventually move to 25 by 25, 25 by 25. So the vision will remain. The vision is very strong and robust. The specific customer needs will align based on their comfort and our ability to convince them in terms of using this model.
Samir, how would you characterize the billing rate environment for us? That in a sense ultimately is the function which would tell us how things are moving. On top line, I can understand the quarter gone by was a blip, it was unfortunate because of COVID. But is business coming at better rates? Is business coming at subdued rates?
In general, we see stable pricing coming in. There isn't a big impact on our pricing pressure, nor is it that there would be a sudden spurge on pricing itself. Having said that, the new G&T engagements or the growth and transformation engagements which we have, we definitely see better pricing coming on that, because these don't go through the usual competitive process. And these are more focused on the value which we deliver to the customer and the contextual knowledge which we bring on table for our customers.
Milind, Rajesh, in our previous chat just mentioned that about 75% of your workforce is vaccinated. What does that mean? I mean, does that mean that soon it's going to be back to business? Soon you would be ramping up things? I'm just trying to understand the importance of that. 70% is an impressive number. Hopefully it should be 100% very soon. What happens after that?
So, we expect to complete vaccinations of our associates by September 30th. We have done 75% first dose. It will all get, we plan to get it done with our drive span India across 173 cities, by September 30th. We are not linking these two things. Yes, vaccination is there primarily to take care of associate health and well-being, their families' well-being, if they happen to come to office, their colleagues' well-being. All of these things that is the primary rationale for doing vaccinations. Coming back to work depends on various situations, including external environment, including local authorities, directives, and all of that. And like I said, this basically, definitely we are getting our workforce ready to come back to work. We're preparing ourselves to come back to work. We're excited to come back to work. So all of that will happen. I really expect the seniors now, TCS seniors to start coming to work, as early as in August, and start become the flag bearers or for all others to come, and basically be excited about this overall collaboration and togetherness at work. So it is a very positive thing. Our people are looking forward to this.
Okay. Samir, just to wrap it up with one final thought, and it's not about margins. I'm just trying to understand the broad tone of how do you think the traditional business is going to move in the aggregate picture for TCS, because you are adding more high-end value-added businesses, but you are also you also have a large business which could be called as a traditional business. When will that interplay start moving more in favor of the new businesses so that we get a J-curve or an operating leverage?
Nikunj, right now, the traditional business remains a large chunk of the overall pie for TCS. Cost and optimization deals and the traditional deals will continue. Our focus will continue on it, while we also try to move towards the new set which we talked about.
Samir, it was lovely to interact with you for the first time on this forum. I look forward to our engagements much more. And Milind, it's been a while actually. 6 quarters I haven't met the folks for TCS or a coffee. So let's hope next time when we meet, we sit across the table and enjoy a warm cup of coffee.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this. Nikunj,
pleasure meeting you, and I'll also look forward to meeting you in person.